Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexi Outs here. It is Wednesday, and I was going to do a watch along, but I switched it up after the news broke yesterday that Chris Boucher is signed with the Boston Celtics yesterday. 1 year for $3.3 million. And it's shocking. It's not what exactly we wanted to hear as Raptors fans, but it is what it is. And time and things move and change. And it's just how it is. Of course, Chris in some ways did not play in the second half of the season. The last 2 years for Raptors, there's been a lot of speculation and questions about him playing and a lot of scrutiny. And in some ways, now he's moving on. He was the longest standing Raptor, the last standing 2019 championship ring holder out of the group. And now he's going to Boston. This has seemed to be a trend of Canadians that played for the Raptors going to play for Boston next. Of course, Delano Banton went that route after he was out of the Raptors. He went to Boston. And even O'Shea Brissett, by way of Indiana, ended up in Boston at a certain point to win a championship as a Canadian who was a former Raptor also. So now Chris is the latest Canadian former Raptor joining the Celtics. I must say a lot right there that the Celtics like to pick up players from us after we've had them, and that they must trust the eyes and the judgment of the Raptors because Justin Champagnie went through there too, Svi Mihalik. There's all kinds of players that the Raptors have had, and then the Celtics pick up afterwards after that. So it is what it is. Chris is a Celtic now, and I'm not mad at him for it. In some ways, if he was in a different situation where he had options and it was obvious and he chose the Celtics out of spite or something like that, like Nick going to Philly, I'd be mad at him, but I'm not. I understand that he has to do what's best for him and that this situation, the Celtics may have been the best option at 3.3 million for next year. And that's just how it is. In some ways, I'm happy for him to have his situation cleared up so that he knows what he's doing next year for his professional NBA career. So those are the things I'm kind of looking at it from. I know that everybody has a lot of opinions on this, and I want to hear you guys tell me your opinions in the comments so that we can kind of talk about this departure, because it is kind of, it's sad in some ways because it is kind of closing the chapter. And Scotty Barnes is now the longest standing Raptor on our team. He's the guy who's been on our team the longest. In some ways, that's a good thing. But in some ways, it's also kind of a sad thing. And it's just part of what happens with NBA teams is, succession. People come and people go. And new people come, people from before go. And Chris had a great run with us. As Monique posted in our Facebook group, on her Facebook page, Chris Boucher is the leader for the Toronto Raptors franchise on so many categories off the bench. Points, assists, rebounds, all kinds of crazy. I don't know if it's assists, but he leads the off the bench numbers for the Raptors history as a franchise. He is the all-time points leader off the bench for Raptors. And, these are important things. Of course, Chris is a two-time champion. He won a championship with the Warriors in his rookie year, even though he only played one game for them in the regular season. And then he came and won a second championship with us also, kind of riding the pine, not really involved or playing a whole lot, but two rings right away in his career to make him a two-time NBA champion at this point already. So, yeah, well, I wish him luck. I would say that people thinking that the Celtics are going to be very good this year, they're probably not going to be, because they're trying on purpose to not be good. Now, in some ways, I'd say getting Chris Boucher is not going to help y'all because he's going to help y'all win. This is kind of like the whole thing has been going on with the Raptors the last couple of years. Well, if you have intentions to not do well this season, Boston, because Jason Tatum is out and you've added Chris Boucher, he might add to winning, and that might hurt your cause for what your goal for this year is. So it's kind of a weird situation. It is what it is. In some ways, I wish he had gone somewhere else, but I also understand there's only 30 teams in the NBA, and you're going to have to go to take your next best situation. Boston is a good spot for him because it's not too far from Canada. And we've also seen Boston come to Montreal and play against the Raptors a couple times in the last few years. And, I think that this is going to be interesting to see Chris and the Celtics green this year. You know, I a lot of opinions on this. Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. I don't know if I want to go very long today, guys. We may try and do just an hour stream today, just a little supplemental. Wow, Wednesday. Chris Boucher is a Celtic. That's what's going on. Trevor J's words of wisdom here. Be grateful for today and never take anything for granted. Life is a blessing. I appreciate your words of wisdom, Trevor. Yeah. Don't take anything for granted. Man, that's something that I really got to take to heart in all kinds of different ways. And I really love trying harder and harder in every way to see every single thing in this world as a blessing, even if it looks ugly and dark and scary. That, I believe what he's saying. Thank you, Trevor J, Commissioner Fun. I hope you're having a great day, Commissioner Trevor. That's right. Reggie's here too. Smooth Brown Man, Celtics and Boucher have been linked for years. They finally get their man. Have been linked for years. Why do you do this, Reggie? You say something that's going to piss me off. Listen, all right, if you're saying that there's been trade rumors and speculation and bullshit pieces put out by ESPN for years, sure. But I hate this. You're saying they've been linked for years. No, they haven't. Chris Boucher has been linked to the Toronto Raptors for like the last 8 years. And fuck that. He's not linked to the Celtics until now. There may have been rumors, hot air, bullshit, subterfuge from Celtics writers, subterfuge from that. Don't give that the light of day, Smooth Brown Man. Fuck those people. Fuck the people that link Chris Boucher to the Celtics for years. And just because Chris is a Raptor that I like, I'm not saying F him to him because I like Chris. Then I want him to be happy, but he went to the Celtics. Fuck the Celtics. I'm going to say that over and over again. Fuck the Celtics. I'll say that over and over again. I'm happy for Chris. I'm glad he's on a team. I'm sad it's the Celtics. Fuck the Celtics. That's what I say. That's what I say right there. Neil is here. Good to see Blackhawk in the chat. Glad he got his contract. I was never for Chris waiting for Horford to be off the board. His agent needed to make something happen. Yeah, that may have been part of it. That Al Horford and what the decision was going on with him was holding up Chris, and the decision for him, and maybe the decision with Chris was holding up Precious, and that's holding up this person, and all the dominoes fall in free agency in ways that they happen. Of course, this Tim Bontemps article about how Emmanuel quickly screwed up free agency is so full of shit. It is so full of shit. I'm telling you right now, I can't believe that they found a new way to try and throw shade on the Raptors by blaming them for overpaying Emmanuel. Emmanuel's not overpaid. He's going to be paid fine, and you're going to see that this year and the years to come. There's other players that are much more egregiously overpaid in this league that y'all should be blaming for ruining the cap space and the structure of the NBA with payment. That people that are saying the Quickly deal is ruining the NBA, you're fucking idiots. First of all, Emmanuel Quickly is a young player that's going to grow into his skills. The cap is expanding because of the TV deals, and his deal is going to be very fair going into the years ahead. And I think it's just a cop-out. It's just some bullshit that you're making up, Tim Bontemps, trying to blame the Raptors and Emmanuel Quickly's contract on some of the situation in the NBA. There's so many other players that you could go and point to and say, this is full of shit, this is fucked up, this is fucked up. And two-finger salute for you, Kevin Pelton and ESPN, for making a mountain out of a molehill. It's not even a molehill. It's nothing. You made something out of nothing. And honestly, it's insulting. And people that are going along with that narrative that the Emmanuel Quickly deal has messed up the NBA, you're idiots. You're absolute idiots. What about the Ben Simmons deal? Hello? What about these other deals for people like Zion Williamson? So don't give me this shit. You're going to tell me Emmanuel Quickly's deal is toxic or bad for the NBA? No, there's these horrible guys that have been sitting around not playing, earning money. They're horrible for the league way more than Emmanuel Quickly with their contract situations, getting paid for nothing, dire straits. That's right. Money for nothing and checks for free, Ben Simmons, motherfucker. That's what I say to that. There you go. All right, let's keep going. Smooth saying, Shams posted a misleading quote. He said Boucher was the Raptors' leader in points and rebounds, slandering Toronto. I could not believe it. Well, he's an idiot. He didn't write the whole thing. He's the leader of points and rebounds off the bench in the history of the Raptors. It's fine. Shams, it's not, like I said, it's not like these people are professionals. They don't do their job professionally. They get facts and things wrong all the time. I'm not professing to be a professional here. I'm an amateur, but I probably get my shit right more often than they do sometimes. Because honestly, I mean, that's a convenient mistake. Oh, I only have so many characters for my dumbass tweets. So I'm going to leave out the word off the bench. Yeah, it's that kind of crap right there. Let's see. Neil saying if Boucher adds to winning, then Boston wasn't bad in the first place. All right. First of all, you guys are maybe not going to like my takes about Boucher going to Boston. Some of y'all are, I'm a big Boucher fan. I'm not a big Boston fan. I love Chris Boucher, but I'm also realistic. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, the amount of time that Chris plays for the Celtics may not be as much as y'all think. I'm going to say this right now. You could see Chris sit just as much as he did in Toronto and Boston this year, y'all. Y'all are saying, oh, I'm so glad he's gone somewhere and he's going to get to play. There's no guarantees of this shit. Seriously, it's the NBA. It's hard. And there's no guarantees that Chris is going to get to play for the Celtics, y'all. Just because he signed a $3.3 million deal for this year does not mean he's going to be in the rotation regularly. He could sit on the bench just like Delano, just like O'Shea from before, just like Svi Mihalik. So let's not get this twisted. Y'all are acting like he's just getting granted everything that he wanted in Toronto, going to Boston. That's not the damn truth, y'all. You know that's not true completely. If he does get to play, I'll be very happy for him. I'll be happy that he's getting to play finally. But there's no fucking guarantees in this league. It's cutthroat, it's mean, it's evil, and wrong sometimes. And that, the way that people kept talking about Chris deserves this, Chris deserves that, it made me kind of pissed off, honestly. Because nobody in the NBA deserves nothing. They get what they get because they earn it. And it's pissed me off this whole fucking time that Raptors fans have been like, Chris deserves so much more. No, he doesn't. He's just in this league. He's happy. He gets millions of dollars to play a game. And he's been a champion twice. He's had a charmed life. He has a great life. There's nothing about deserving playing time. There's nothing about deserving this or that. Y'all are wrong when you say this shit. And I hope he gets to play in Boston, but there's no guarantees on this. Once again, y'all. He's getting added at the last second, then he could easily be their 12th man and doesn't play hardly at all this year for them either, guys. Let's be honest here. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope y'all are right. And I hope that he gets to flourish and play a lot for the Celtics. But y'all know that the reality of the situation, there is a path where it happens like what I just said. You know that's the damn truth. Because it's the NBA. It's a business. It's a cutthroat deal. Cutthroat thing. And it's not easy. And nothing's handed to you. And nobody deserves just shit handed to them. And that's the one thing that's pissed me off the most the last 2 years about all the griping about whether Chris gets to play or not. Is nothing is guaranteed in this damn league unless you have guaranteed money. And you get that anyway. But nothing's guaranteed as far as playing time or being out there or nothing. Health, nothing. And that has always bugged me in the last 2 years of people whining and crying about Chris not playing. Is that seriously, there's nothing guaranteed or granted to people. And he's not granted a rotation spot in Boston already, guys. He has work to do when he goes there to make his role and carve it out. Y'all thinking, oh, he's released finally from the evil Darko who wouldn't play him. We don't know if Joe Mazzulla is going to play him either, y'all. Let's have a reality check here real quick. Seriously. Seriously, y'all just thinking, oh, he's free. He's going to get to play all he wants. He's going to flourish. We don't know that. We do not know if he's going to flourish. And y'all are getting ahead of yourselves. We got to see what happens. Hopefully he does. I'll be happy that he does, although I don't want Celtics to win. And I think you're crazy if you think they're trying to win because they already traded everybody away. They've signaled the Celtics are trying to be in a decline this year because they want to do what the Sixers did last year. They want to go low, and hopefully they get a VJ Edgecombe at the end of the year. So that's the whole plan. So don't expect the Celtics to be trying this year. They're going to actively tank this year. Jason Tatum's out. They've traded Drew Holiday. They traded Kristaps Porzingis. They're getting rid of Al Horford. They're refreshing their team. Their team is going to suck, and you're going to see the Celtics below the Raptors in the Atlantic Division, guys. So be ready for that. All right? Because it's not even me deciding this. They're showing all signs that Boston is going for an active one-year tank this year. All signs that they're doing that. Tatum's going to be out. Ooh, we're going to weather this by slumping on purpose like the Sixers did last year and going for a high draft pick this year. That's the script for Boston. And anybody thinks, oh, they might be good still. No, they're already signaling their hand. It's like they folded their hand at a poker table is what the Celtics are already showing for this year. Same thing with Indiana. They're kind of folding their hand for this year too. So I'm just saying, don't misread the signs. Celtics have folded their hand for the season, and Chris is going to a team that's probably trying to lose. Let's just put it that way. Let's just put it that way. That's right. That's right. Derps is here. Good to see Derps. It's been a little while, man. Good to see Raptor Freak Derps. Boston is home court advantage with TD Arena and all. Yeah. The Canadian Toronto Dominion Arena is where Chris will be playing now. It is what it is. It is what it is. Other players, I'd get mad about it, but not with Chris. Chris has been such a great Raptor for so long. There's been different chapters of his Raptors career. The beginning where he barely played when we won the championship. Then he had to play a lot more during Tampa and did all kinds of stuff. He was really relied on at times when we were stretched thin on a roster and we didn't have a lot of good players on our team. He really stepped up and he did some amazing things. He was, of course, part of that big comeback against the Dallas Mavericks around Christmas that year with him and Kyle Lowry and Rondé Hollis Jefferson and Terrence Davis II. Chris has been there for us in really tough, lean times in the last 5 years where the Raptors were really in the bad place, whether it was during the coronavirus, whether it was during Tampa bubble, whether it was whatever. It was Tampa, bubble, whatever. Chris was there through the hardest times of the Raptors' history in recent years. And he had to step in and be a starter at times, be one of the main guys at times. And he did a good job. He did great. And he always never worried about his effort. He was always putting that effort out there all out. And we know that. And the offensive rebounding, amazing. The three-point shots when he's hitting them, amazing. The effort's there. He's a meme of collapsing at the end of the bench. And that's apropos to him because that's the way he was for us. Always going all out to no energy and falling down over at the end of the bench. He's just an interesting character. He's always going to be a legend in Raptors history because even though he wasn't a starter for most of his career with us, he was still a fan favorite. He was a energy off the bench. He had all kinds of different cool little things about him that we enjoyed. I appreciate him for making me a moderator on his Twitch channel. I am an official moderator on Chris Boucher's Twitch. There's all kinds of cool things about Chris. And he's just a cool guy. And he's very down to earth. And he really does kind of have a good connection with the fans and real people. He's not like a fake person. If you talk to him, he'd be real with you. He'd be like, yeah, this is what I see. And you're kind of full of shit. Or he'd be like, also, you know what? You're an amazing person. He cares. And he really does care about people because he's been in bad places in his life. And he understands and has different perspectives that some people don't. And that's why, in some ways, Chris is a badass. I also know that during the time Chris was on the Raptors, he matured as a man. He went from being a young guy in the league, just trying to make it, to making the league, to being in the league, establishing himself in the league, and also maturing as a man. There's a lot of this path for different guys in the Raptors history, like DeMar DeRozan, Kyle Lowry, Fred VanVleet, Chris Boucher. You have a child here in Canada, in Toronto, and all of a sudden your whole perspective changes and you grow up in certain ways. And I've seen Chris change in the middle of his Raptors career from wanting to be Kevin Durant to being, I'm okay with being a role player and being who I am in my role in the NBA and just being happy with that, because he had those dreams of being bigger and more than what he is. And early in his career, he really did want to be Kevin Durant. He wanted to be a go-to scorer that scored a lot and did all kinds of stuff. But you hit your ceiling. You hit your limit with your skills and your possibilities in the NBA. It's not all going to just work out. Dreams don't just happen. Sometimes they're not going to happen. And, in some ways at a certain point, which was that Boxing Day game against the Cleveland Cavaliers where everybody was sick and we had to have 4 replacement players come in and play the first time they'd ever met any of them. Tremont Waters and Daniel Turo and people like that come show up to play with Yuta Watanabe, Delano Banton, and Chris Boucher. And Chris had to be the man. He had to be Pascal, as he said. Had to be the franchise player. And he couldn't, it was hard. He couldn't carry it. And Kevin Love and the Cavs beat the Raptors in one of their worst beatdowns ever in the history of the Raptors history on a Boxing Day. And after that game, Chris decided, you know what, I understand what it means to be a franchise player or be a player that has to lead the team. And it's hard. It's hard. And in some ways, I don't want that responsibility anymore. I have more respect now for Pascal, people like Scotty, Pascal, that take this because it's hard. And in some ways, you know what? I'm good. I'm going to be a role player and I'm going to stick to my role and I'm going to get really good at it. That was a lesson for him. on that Boxing Day in that debacle where we went to Cleveland and we had half our team, 4 out of our 8 players had just showed up on the bus and had never met each other until that moment. So, Chris has got a history with us, and he's got a lot of great moments, a lot of fun moments, a lot of good friendships, a lot of good friends that he's made over the years. OG, Pascal, Fred, Kyle, Scotty, there's Precious. There's so many different guys he bonded with, obviously, that you can see on the court. He's always going to be a legend. We love Chris. Chris, you're always going to be good here. Of course, you're Canadian. You're played for the Canadian team. You're a champion for the Canadian team. And that's something that only you can say. And, we know you're going to be back around for alumni and stuff like that over the years after your playing career. We know you're going to be back. And we know you're going to be walking into endorsement deals all over Canada after your playing career or during your playing career, still playing for the Celtics. You will still. Yeah, you will still get put on blast up here. That's right. Let's go. Let's keep going with the comments. Let's see. Neil's saying that when one journey ends, another begins, as long as there is breath. That's right. We'll just see what happens. Let's just say all these former Raptors that have gone to the Celtics, that has not worked out for them. Let's just put it that way. Let's see the track record. Seriously, look at Delano in Boston. Didn't work out. He got bounced. Svi Mahalik. O'Shea Brissett got a ring. I mean, they've gone through a couple of our guys that we cast off and we're kind of like, okay. And then they say, yeah, we'll get this guy and we'll bring him in. We'll try him out. I'm just saying it's going to be tough for Chris. I think that he has a better chance than those other guys that I just named, but it's going to be tough. And in some ways he may get a lot of time this year just because they're tanking. Like I said, because I think they're going to be tanking this year for sure. Let's see. Neil saying, what I see is Raptors showing the league that they will pay to get talent in Toronto. When you're talking about Emmanuel, yeah, I think it's gaslighting, guys. I think that it doesn't have anything to do with Emmanuel Quickly. I don't think it has anything to do with the contract. It has to do with it's the Raptors. And that these motherfuckers want to write crazy ass hit pieces and gaslighting articles to make people think that they're fucking up or all this kind of stuff. Casual fans are dumb. They won't look at the whole situation through it, will buy this shit and say, oh, the Raptors are horrible. They keep messing up. They overpaid Emmanuel Quickly. It's shit like that. It's misinformation, disinformation, shams putting shit out wrong, like was said earlier. It's all a game and perception. And, in some ways, that's why we can't listen to the mass media on the Raptors in the United States or even up here to a degree. Seriously. What will happen is, once again, the Raptors are going to show things on the court in real life, in truth. And that's all that's going to matter, is what happens in between the 4 lines of the basketball court and the 94 feet. And what happens there will be the reality and the truth. And all the propaganda pieces, all the bullshit that they write about the Raptors on ESPN, Bleacher Report, it won't matter because the truth will be shown in the standings, the win column, and the way that the Raptors play. And they'll be, oh, we were wrong. Oh, we were wrong. I'm so surprised by the Raptors. Oh, it'll be that kind of shit. That's how it's going to happen. That's how it's going to happen right there. Smooth saying this. I think because Boston is retooling, that's why a lot of people think CB will get a lot of time. Yeah, that's probably true. But once again, I want to point out, y'all just saying, oh, he's going to get it for sure. That's not true. We don't know what he's going to get. He could end up being stashed. He could play less than he played for the Raptors last year on the Celtics this year. There's no guarantees, is what I'm trying to tell y'all. And everybody's saying he deserves this, he deserves that. Unfortunately, this world is cruel. And, in some ways in the NBA, it's a business. It's not about what people deserve. And that's the sad thing about it, but it's just the truth. Some people on Reddit this morning are upset because too bad he didn't get a goodbye game with the Raptors. Just like Lowry didn't really get a goodbye game with us either because he was in Tampa when he played his last game as a Raptor. Actually, he was in LA against the Lakers when he played his last game as a Raptor. But Chris Boucher played his last game this year, I think, against the Phoenix Suns. And it was a win in which he helped the Raptors win. And then he didn't play for the rest of the season. And everybody's like, oh, let Chris play. And I was wanting them to. But 50 games had happened. And there were contract things that if he goes over 50 games played, they have to pay him more, and they didn't want to do that. Then that's the thing that a casual Raptors fan is not understanding, that we understand because we went and looked at it and we understood it. The last 2 years, Chris played exactly 50 games for the Raptors. That's because of a contract stipulation. If you played more, you'd get paid more. And they didn't want to pay him more, so they didn't play him over the 50. In some ways, if the Raptors had been going for a championship and they've been a top of the league team, maybe he would have played the full thing and they would have been, yeah, we want your bonus because you're helping us win and we're at the top of the league and we're going for another Larry O'Brien. But that wasn't the case with us. So in some ways, cost cutting, play him 50. Don't play him more than 50. This is where capitalism and business gets in the way, guys. Don't get mad at the Raptors. Don't get mad at Darko. Get mad at capitalism for Chris Boucher only getting to play 50 games because the money is why. Right there. It's the money. It's the money right there. That's right. Let's see. Seymour's here. Good to see Seymour Pape checking in from the Central Time, the Mountain Time. I respectfully disagree with the Boston take. Moving Yang out for Boucher is a winning move. You know, that is a winning move because I think that's an upgrade. I'll agree. Georges Niang is kind of not in shape. Let's just put it that way. The man is flabby, and he doesn't run up and down the court very fast. And Chris is way better for that. I think that they're similar players. I think that in some ways, Niang doesn't give you the offensive rebounding, but they have similar three-point shooting kind of prowess. And, that it is an upgrade. I would say that for sure. The Boucher is an upgrade over Niang. And the fact that they moved Niang to get Boucher, well, that's good news too. I like that. Niang, where did he go? He went somewhere out west, right? He went somewhere out west now. But yeah. I mean, I can agree with this, that getting Boucher over Niang is a winning move. I'll agree with that. Neil saying Celtics shed money more than anything. Yeah, they're trying to get things ready and for the retooling. They won the championship with that kind of core, but they want to keep Tatum and Brown. There's been a lot of talk this summer that Jaylen Brown might get moved too. People were looking at getting Jaylen Brown and other places. Ooh, we want Jaylen Brown over here. I don't know how far they were willing to go. Seriously, I would value Jaylen Brown over Jason Tatum, though. If they were going to trade one of those two big guys on Boston, I would be trading Tatum, not Brown. I'd be keeping Brown in Boston if I was them. But yeah, they shed money. They shed players because they know they're going to lose this year. And they want to. Let's just not get this twisted. They saw the Sixers, like I said, they had a bunch of people injured and out. They tanked, and they got VJ Edgecombe at the third pick. And the Celtics, if the NBA does some crony bullshit, and they end up near the high draft pick in the lottery, like all of a sudden the ping pong ball is like, woo, second pick in the draft, Boston Celtics. Don't be surprised because that's the general goal for this year is get the Celtics a top 5 draft pick by sitting out and playing shitty and tanking this year, just like the Sixers did last year. I'm telling you. Let's see. Seymour saying Anthony Simons is a bucket. Pritchard is a problem. Brown is a problem. White is a problem. And their coach is pretty good. Boston will be good. But yes, Raptors should finish in top over Boston. Yeah, we should. This is the thing. They don't have size. In Boston, they haven't really had size for a couple years. Playing Al Horford as your main big center. Porzingis is too skinny and long. They didn't really have size. They have a weakness. The Celtics have a weakness. And in some ways, the Raptors have exploited against them in the last couple of years and kicked their ass in that department. Chris is not going to help with this. So in some ways, I think that without the offensive firepower of Jason Tatum and some of the guys they moved out of there, this team is going to be bad, guys, because they don't have size. They have no size on their lineup, and they're going to get bullied. And their three-point system that they normally do is not going to work as well without Tatum and some of the guys who just left. Drew Holiday will be sorely missed also. Let's just put it that way, guys. I mean, you can't get rid of this kind of experience. Horford, Holiday, and, Porzingis, I guess, and not feel it. So, seriously, you guys may be overvaluing Boston this year. And maybe they want you to think that they're going to be good, but they're not. They're not going to be good this year. I'm telling you right now, they're not going to be good this year. Pritchard is a great backup point guard, but let's not get it twisted. He's a backup point guard. He's not a starter. Let's keep going. Let's see. Neil's saying we will see if CB's game gets better, the same or worse in Celtics system. Well, I don't see Chris progressing as an individual player in this league. I think he's hit his ceiling on what he can do. He just has to be more perfect with, playing each winning play what he's supposed to do in his tool bag. We're not going to see Chris expand his game into something really crazy. Like you're going to see him post up or do crazy dribble moves around people to try and get the basket. No, the Celtics won't let him do that, guys. They want him to continue to do what he does well from the Raptors for them. And that's offensive rebound. Get in there and get rebounds and hit some threes, and get up and down the court. But yeah, don't expect Chris to have a huge jump just because he's on the Celtics. It's not like they're going to develop him in the time from yesterday to the season in any kind of huge way that he's going to be a different player. No, he's pretty far in his career, and he is who he is. I'd be shocked. I mean, Jakob hitting a three last year, maybe he could do something different all of a sudden, but it's not likely. It's not likely. It's not likely. I don't know if he'll be better or worse. We can gauge it. We'll pay attention, and I'll try and be honest about it as far as like, well, Chris is playing better on the Celtics this year. Or maybe I'll be saying, man, I feel bad for Chris. He's not playing for the Celtics either. And in some ways, he's not getting the opportunities he did on the Raptors, because that's possible too, Raptors fans. You're going to sully the Raptors and say, oh, we dropped the ball with him, we didn't play him and stuff like that. Well, we're not guaranteeing that the Celtics are going to do this either, guys. I'm telling you right now. And the track record of getting former Raptors to come to that team has not been good. Once again, I'll say that. Let's see. Wayne's here. Good to see Wayne Strainer. Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Glad for Chris. He's still a bench player and will do what he does. Lexicon is not wrong about Boston this year. I have no idea. It's just premature. Happy for Chris Boucher. Yeah, we can be happy for the individual, happy for the legacy and the history with our team and the honoring of him. We love you, Chris. We always will, even if you're wearing an ugly green jersey this year. Yeah, we love you either way. And that's just how it is. They better treat you right. And if people treat you wrong in Boston, fuck them. That's what I'm going to say. That's right. I mean, we'll just have to see. Nothing's guaranteed. Once again, everybody's supposing way too much already about this move and what's going to happen. In some ways, we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. UC saying, good morning, Raptors gang. Good morning to you, sir. Going to miss Chris on a roster. At least it's a historic team he's joining instead of money chasing. Yeah, I mean, 3.3 million. Let's think about that number. What do you think he was going to make? You know, last year, what did he make? Like 12 million on his contract with us? Yeah, he should be thanking the hell out of the Raptors. We gave him the biggest contract of his whole entire career, and he made a big sum of money. He's got generational wealth. So people that are like, oh, Chris should be so mad at the Raptors. No, he's not mad at the Raptors. He's thankful and grateful to the Raptors because in some ways that's where he carved out his spot in the NBA to be around. In some ways, when he came to Raptors, he was an Exhibit 10, y'all, just like what we just signed Olivier Sarr on. And he walked in through the back door and busted his ass up through the franchise. He had no guarantee early on when he was around our championship team. And he busted his ass and improved and got there. So in some ways, it's like he's a success story no matter what, because he came through the team in some ways in a harder way than most. Fred VanVleet and him have that in similar. They came through the back door and went the hard way up through the roster to get established and stay on the team. Because guys like him, normally, they may be lucky if they're in the league for 4 years. And now Chris is going to be pushing 10 years in the league soon. So, he has a lot to be grateful for. A lot to be grateful for. Yeah. Seymour saying, anyway, I reached out to Granny Evelyn. Hopefully she replies back to me. Oh, okay, you were asking her about the shirts? Okay, yeah, I'll talk to her too and see what she's saying or thinking about the Raptor Freak shirts. Maybe getting another batch printed up. But yeah, it may be tough to get this all done before the training camp when you might be seeing them in Calgary. Just the timeline. Sometimes this kind of stuff takes a while and get it going and all this kind of stuff. We'll have to figure it out. I'll message her too, either today or tomorrow. I will message her very soon. Yeah, let's see. All right, let's keep going. I love all the comments, and we got to react to this. In some ways, I want to do the watch along later, but there's no guarantees for sure. Jakob's going to play against Bulgaria today. I've already found out that Austria is eliminated because they lost the first game. They're not going to have a possibility to go forward. So in some ways, I'm kind of hoping Jakob's not playing because in some ways we don't want any kind of risks to him for nothing, right? I mean, it may be good for him just to be around the team and camaraderie for the Austria team, but man, they're really bad. And in some ways, if Jakob's in Madrid with the Raptors instead of with the Austrian team right now, I won't be upset. I won't be upset. But yeah, that game is at 1 today. I was going to watch along with you guys, but I decided to go ahead and go early because of the Chris news. And I felt like this is more important. The Austria game may be very ugly and kind of stupid. And it may not be a good watch anyway. So we'll just go ahead and go and do the stream now. Now. TikTok about a freak shirt. That's right. You talked to her about getting the freak shirt. All right. Reggie's saying this: Chris Boucher is the one guy that deserves all the happiness, man. If you know his story, wow, I love you, Chris. All the best in Boston. He's got it though, man. That's the thing. We can separate the two. There's a different levels of getting what you want, and this man got a lot of what he wanted. What you want? Every single thing that he wants. I mean, some of it may be reasonable, but some of it may not be. And I think that this is the situation with this. Is like, look, I know I said this online, and I said that Chris wasn't a part of our plan, and that's obviously true. Because if he was a part of our plan, he would have a roster spot, and he would be in our plan for this year. But he wasn't, and we saw the signs of this all summer. And it's just part of it. It's just part of it. I really do feel like Darko has a type that he wants to coach and have on this team. And they have to have two things. They have to play their ass off on defense, and they have to pass the ball very easily. They can't be a black hole. They can't be somebody that just holds the ball and shoots the ball more often than not. They have to show a proclivity to move the ball around and move it to the next person. And a lot of the guys have left our team since Darko showed up as a coach. This is things that they didn't have. And Chris is one of these guys. I'm sorry. He may play a very hustly defense, but he doesn't necessarily have a lockdown defense. And he can be exploited on the defensive end in certain ways. You guys know this is true. This is true. And then and the other thing is about the passing. Chris is not one of the better passers that was on the Raptors in the last couple of years. In some ways, he's a guy, once again, that if he gets the ball in his hands, he's very likely to shoot it himself and not move the ball to the next person. And that's a big, huge part of why the Raptors made plans to maybe not go forward with Chris in the plan. I think that's exactly the big reason why. If you really, really think about basketball shit, and that's why. Yeah, we love him either way. You're exactly right, Smooth Brown Man. This man's gone through a lot in his life. He deserves all the riches, all the happiness, all the goodness, all the things with him and his family, his mother, his child, everybody, his agent, his siblings, everybody. He has all the happiness in the world, and he's got it right. Listen, he's not jaded. He's not pissed off. He practices gratitude on the regular, and he knows just how lucky and grateful he should be for his amazing life. Because he has an amazing life. Let's not get it twisted. Isaac saying dunk at Smooth. Just sad that it's Boston. I hope he comes back and becomes PM. I love that too, Isaac. You know what? I'm going to give a dunk to Smooth as you've requested. And I'm also going to give you a dunk for suggesting that our guy, Chris Boucher, should be the Prime Minister of Canada one day. I like that. 42. You got the old Yaka Pirtle number, Isaac Campbell. And let's go see where Reggie's at after this one. Where's Smooth? Smooth is at 163. Wow, 163 for Smooth Brown Man on the dunk charts. There you go. Let's see. Fiercey's here. Good morning to MJ. Good morning, fam, and happy Wednesday. Wishing the best of luck to the last championship piece in his next journey to Boston. Now, technically, we still have champions on our team. Dr. Alex McKechnie, Jamal McGlure is still around somewhere, involved with our team. Bobby Webster. Dan Tolzman. There's still some people around our team, Jim Sand, that have rings from our championship year. And so we still have some champions around the team, just no players that were on the team at that point. In some ways, I talked about this years ago when I started the channel. We have to protect having our champions on our team. And at that time, we had 4. We had Fred, OG, Pascal, and Chris. They were our last 4 champions left on that team. And I talked about the importance of this over and over again on this show, about how Raptors fans should covet having the Raptor champions continue to be on our team. Because in some ways, look, Steph Curry, how long has he been on the Warriors? And how long ago was the first championship he won for them? Yeah, It's messed up. In some ways, some teams have been allowed to keep players for long periods of time in those kind of ways. But well, the Raptors, in some ways we're smart because we have to replenish and go in a new direction. But also at the same time, the NBA is not conducive to allow and help us to keep our champions for long term in that way. I mean, if it were that way, Kawhi wouldn't have left the first year. Things like different things with Serge and Mark wouldn't have happened. There's all kinds of different ways things could have gone where we would have had championship core still around, but it's not to be. A pandemic had a huge part in screwing up things for the Raptors and building a dynasty with players on our team. We could have actually probably won the bubble championship if Kawhi had stuck around for one more year. I really do think that's realistic. That in the bubble, we had Kawhi in that series against the Celtics, we would have won that 7-game series and very likely had a good chance to beat the Lakers or whoever in the finals for that championship and repeat as NBA champions. That's the thing. The NBA knew that if Kawhi hung around and we were that good, we were probably going to repeat. So there was a ton of pressure, not just from Uncle Dennis for Kawhi to go back home to California, but the NBA front office was probably putting a lot of pressure on him to get the hell out of Toronto too. Let's not be naive to this. Let's not be naive to this. Shaq Lindsay's here. Chris went to a sinking ship. Yeah, in some ways, I'll agree with him. It's a ship that is not what it was in the last couple of years, and don't expect them to be like that. Seriously, don't expect them to be like that. That's right. Shaq Lindsay, good to see you. Thank you for supporting this channel. Thank you, Smooth, for supporting this channel also. Seymour saying, Isaac, keep fighting the good fight, brother. I see you. There you go. I like it. Fiercely saying, has Precious been picked up by a team yet? No. Precious probably will be next, though. It could very well be. These guys are in the same kind of area of the NBA, Precious Achua and Chris Boucher. Then in some ways, Chris getting his team finally going to Boston. Precious might be next. And I don't know. Are they thinking about bringing him back in New York? No. I've heard that they don't want him back in New York. I've heard Miami's interested in bringing Precious back to the Miami Heat. That's actually what I'm hearing right now. Yeah, Seymour saying, I don't think so. Yeah, he hasn't. Isaac saying, what size are you, Seymour? I have a Raptors freak shirt that is big, like extra large plus. Wow. Where did you get you? Did I give you a too big of a shirt, Isaac? Isaac is so benevolent. He's thinking about mailing his Raptor freak shirt to Seymour Pay in Calgary. Wow. I mean, I'm not going to tell Isaac not to do that, but what a benevolent thing to do if you do that. I mean, seriously, fiercely saying thank you to Seymour and 3 times. He's at 3 times. He could wear that then. It probably could fit that big shirt that I gave you. Why did I give you such a big shirt? I don't even remember. Why did you get a XL plus? I don't know what happened there. Kaz is here. Good morning, Lex and Rat Free Crew. Good morning to you, Kaz. How are you doing today? Good to see you. Wayne saying, I would love for us to acknowledge the situation, but not do the speculative yapping about when and how and with who Chris will be playing with. We don't have to speculate. If he plays, he plays. Yeah. I mean, he's got another year in the NBA on a $3.3 million contract. In some ways, that's exactly what happened to Gary Trent last year, right? Gary was hoping he'd get another teens kind of contract, get paid around 11, 12, 13 million for the year. But no, that money is squeezed out. The middle class is gone. And these guys are getting contracts more like 2 or 3 million a year on a 1-year deal. Gary Trent Jr. did it again with Milwaukee. This year, he signed another small contract to try and do something with the Milwaukee Bucks. And now Chris has one of these similar kind of contracts, 3.3 for 1 year. And that is a big pay cut from what he made last year. He's making a third of what he made last year, if not a fourth of what he made last year. And that's just how it goes. And like I said, I think that when I was saying this, I was more about General Raptors Nation who are just saying, oh, Chris is free now. He's free from Darko. You don't know that. Joe Mazzulla may keep him not in the game even more than Darko. There's nothing guaranteed. That's right. There's nothing guaranteed. Seymour saying I'm 6'4", 6'5", 235. So yeah, 3XL. Yeah, that sounds like that man could probably fill that shirt. Isaac. He sounds like it. Sounds like he could. Here's Naco the Nacho. Good to see Gerald back in the chat. Back from Oswego. Seeing all the great musical acts of today. This weekend. Let's see what Nako's saying. The Celtics are a play-in team. Pritchard is a low-end straight starter. You meant to say starter. All right, I want to explain this. He's not a starter. He's a very good player, but he needs to stay in the backup role. That's where his strength is. If you put him in the starting lineup, he's going to get exploited. He's going to get exploited. And it really is because he's undersized. And, he's fine as the backup point guard because he comes in and just bombs, and guys are usually tired. But in the beginning, in the start, he can be exploited right from the beginning of the game because people will go at him and post him up and do all kinds of stuff. So I will disagree with you respectfully that in some ways, yeah, he's got scoring prowess and all this kind of stuff, but he's not an NBA starter. And in some ways, if they did that, they'll expose him. If he starts this year, they're going to start him this year. You'll see it. You'll see what I'm saying. Exactly. Right there. You think they're a playing team? I don't think they want to do that. I think that they're going to want to miss everything on purpose. And they really are going to be trying to be at the bottom of the Atlantic Division. Because what's the point of taking a low year if they're not going to go all the way low? And they might as well just try and be in the playoffs if they're going to try and be in the play-in. So I don't see it. I think that they're going to miss everything out on purpose this season. I'm saying this before the games have even started. Nowhere near. We don't even know the schedule yet. I'm saying that the Celtics are going to try and miss the play-in and the playoffs on purpose this year. And it's partly to mimic what the Sixers did last year, is what it is. Shaq Lindsay saying they say Toronto front court is expensive. Brown and Tatum equal the same amount as our front court. Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, their perception, the way they want to build perception around the Raptors is always negative, is gaslighting. And honestly, they could say all these things that they say about us, about most of the teams in the league. They just choose not to because it's just fill in the blanks. They color that coloring book however they want to color it. And in some ways, it's not fair to us. They are shading us. They're negging us. They're writing bullshit. They're trying to shape opinion that they think that we're idiots and that we don't know what we're doing. This is all tactics that the media tries to do to try and hurt franchises so that they go the way of the Charlotte Hornets. And the thing is, with Masai around, we kept the quality control that was above it. The ship sailed through this kind of shit with Masai around. We're testing it now because we're getting this kind of media bombardment with disrespect. And it's different with Masai not here. And hopefully we can be badasses and have quality to our team still with Bobby. And it won't matter. And the same effect will happen over time where everybody's like, oh, shit, we got to start respecting the Raptors again. Even though Ujiri left, they're still showing that they're badasses and they're doing way better than we thought they would or we said they would. And, well, that's what we have to do. We have to kind of come back and earn respect again. Ujiri leaving hurt us for respect around the league. And we've got to prove to everybody that we're still good even without Masai. And until that, we're going to be taking these bullshit stray bullets and weird shit from ESPN.com, Bleacher Report, and other dumbass places. It's just how it is. We got to prove to them again. We got to prove it. Seymour saying, who's yapping, Wayne? I think he's saying some stuff about on Discord. There's a certain individual on our Discord that is kind of misinformed and kind of talking out of her ass sometimes. And I think this is who he's referencing. There's been some wild things that that person's been saying in the last couple of weeks. To me, that's normal because she's been doing it all along. And sometimes it's just like kind of like, okay, all right, that's your take, okay, yeah. Smooth saying Lex is right. Boucher maxed out his ceiling, no growth left. Yeah, I don't see it. I really don't see it. I mean, what's he gonna do? How's he gonna become a better defender? He's done a pretty good job of adding muscle and holding himself down low, but it's still to the point. It's like he's still Wemby body type, and Wemby gets pushed around like he's nothing. Chris still does to an extent by certain huge guys. It's like he can't play a true center position because he can't guard the centers that way. He's a better as a help defender, as a shot blocker coming from the side, but he can't play low post defense. He can't hold anybody down low. And in some ways, that's hurt him for his playing time and the way he can play in the NBA. Is that, it's that kind of thing. Yeah. Troy Henry's here. Good morning, Troy Henry. Longtime Raptor freak. Good to see you return. He's saying our worst nightmare. Lex, you called it, man. You were saying on one stream a few weeks ago, you would hate to see Chris go there. I might have said that, but I mean, I'm not totally against it. I'm not upset about it in some ways because I'm just glad that Chris got somewhere. It was getting really kind of too long. It was taking a long time. And I'm just relieved, just like he probably is. And it's not the ideal place, but you know what? If Delano can go to Boston, so can Chris. And in some ways, Delano went there, and I was like, yeah, this sucks. I'm sad seeing Delano Banton in a Celtics jersey. But, at least Chris has a place in the league still. I mean, the alternative possibly could have been no spot in the league and out of the league, and this is the end of your career. So I'm happy for him, even if it's the Celtics. And because it's Chris, it's special. And in some ways, also, it's not so bad in some ways, Troy, because the Celtics are destined to be bad this year. And it's not like we're going to see Chris come in and play for the Celtics and they're going to win another championship or something like that this year. That's not happening. So I don't know. We'll just have to see how it goes. I hope Chris gets to play. Don't get it twisted. I'm not a hater. I'm not saying I don't want him to play. I'm just saying y'all are getting ahead of yourself when you think that he's just automatically going to play in Boston. Hopefully he does. Hopefully he does, but there's no guarantees. Once again, you have to say that. There's no guarantees. Yeah. I wouldn't characterize this as a nightmare, Troy Henry. This is not a nightmare. This is just how it went. It's just how it went. Seymour's saying you have to have a wrench, use it. He's not talking about it in here. He's talking about it on Discord for sure. Nako's saying within the East, Pritchard is not up to par with other point guards. It's a height thing and a size thing. In some ways, he's okay. In some ways, I don't know. Maybe because Fred can do it, he could do it too. But the thing is, I often think that Pritchard, half of why he's so good is because he gets hot and he can get streaky. And he's really good when he makes his shots. And it seems like it happens when he plays the Raptors. But when he's not making his shots, he's absolute shit. Seriously. If he's not making his shots, he can be very bad for the team and bring them down. And that's been proven too. We've seen that side of things too. Cool Cat saying, good morning, Raptor Freak crew. So sad to say goodbye to Chris Boucher. Happy that he got signed to another team. I want him to have success in his career wherever he goes. Yeah, I just want him to be happy. In some ways, that's the most important thing. I just want him to be happy. Let's go look at the Instagram stories real quick because he is on there. First, we've got Emmanuel Quickly in the streets of Madrid. These guys are still putting in that work at Real Madrid's practice facilities. Raptors are in their summer training camp right now, and things are going really good over there, it seems. There he is, the man himself, walking on the street. They say that you get paid too much, Emmanuel, and you messed up the league. I don't believe that. I don't believe that bullshit Kevin Pelton's trying to say, or Tim Bontemps, or who the fuck's saying that. Nah, we don't believe that shit. There's other people that ruin the salaries in the league more than you. And in some ways, your contract's going to be fine. They just slighting us with their bullshit. Elijah Martin has this pictures of the streets of Madrid also on his Instagram. And there he is hanging out with some guy he's calling happy birthday twin to Jaden. I'm not sure who Jaden 23 is, but it was his birthday yesterday. There's David Johnson in the Jumper Jacks. The Jack Jumpers uniform in the NBL. I wonder if, because of the new structure with the salary cap and what we're talking about with Chris and Gary Trent Jr. and how guys are getting squeezed, if that's actually pushing more of the lower level guys like Javon Freeman Liberty, Malachi Flynn, and David Johnson to go overseas and take that other money somewhere else. Because I'll bet you David Johnson is going to make more money playing in the NBL than he would have playing for G League this year. And bouncing between the G League for Memphis and this may be more lucrative for him, especially because the states economically are doing so bad. It may not be smart to be on the G League right now economically, and it may be more smart to go overseas right away and start playing for a European league or Australian league right away. Because that's a trend I've seen this year. Jeff Dowtin Jr. going overseas also. Why the hell would Jeff Dowtin Jr. all of a sudden give up on his NBA dream from the G League to the NBA to go to Tel Aviv? Because maybe the squeeze is there and he's seeing that, this isn't going to happen. And what is this worth anyway? If I make the league and I just barely make the league, I'm going to make $2 million like Chris Boucher or something or like Gary Trent Jr. or Chris Boucher. It's kind of like that. I think that's what's happening, guys. AJ Lawson in Spain has found a friend, and this kid wanted to take a picture with him. And so, Lil J, Ski 8, found AJ on the street, and they took a picture together. That's cool. AJ looks happy in Madrid. There's Chloe Kitts on Colin Murray Boyle's Instagram with the cake from her birthday yesterday. 21 is what it says on the cake, and she seems so smiley and happy. And she's got an engagement ring on her finger. It looks like she got an engagement ring on her finger. Is that what I'm seeing there, Colin Murray Barkley? An engagement ring on Chloe Kitts. There's also a picture of Chris Paul on Colin Murray Boyle's thing, and Jason Tatum standing behind him too. I'm not sure exactly what's going on here. He's putting on blast Miles Bird. who's training with Chris Paul and Jason Tatum somewhere. Isn't Jason Tatum out? Like, he's hurt. What the hell is he training? He's not supposed to be out there. They're slimmed up. And let's see Chris Boucher's Instagram on the day he signed with the Boston Celtics. First, he has the end of an era. Picture of him with the Raptors championship. Skinny little 25 coming into Toronto a long time ago. Him with the fans. He's showing due respect to the Raptors fans and stuff on his way out. I love it. There he is. Merci, Chris, from the Raptors. A post here is saying Chris Boucher leaves Toronto as the franchise's all-time leader in points, rebounds, blocks, minutes, and games played off the bench. He was also the final remaining player from the Raptors' 2019 NBA championship roster. Yeah, merci. Chris Boucher, Trey Boucher, we love you, man. There's another graphic with him. Chris Boucher, franchise leader in points off the bench, rebounds off the bench, blocks off the bench, three-pointers off the bench, games played off the bench, and minutes played off the bench. That's the franchise leader for the Toronto Raptors roster. History, franchise, ever. There you go. And there he is in the Celtics jersey signed. He has made it official on his Rock Nation Sports, helping him sign with the Celtics 3.3 for 1 year. And there he is. Man, he's signaling he's gone to the dark side. That's right. There you go. Jack Armstrong saying hello and with the thumbs up on his Instagram. I don't know what's going on there. There he's outside somewhere with a microphone talking to the people. He's like talking to a crowd. They're all sitting really far from him, kind of looking at him from the side. Looks like a bunch of football players or something. I don't know what's going on there. Don Staley talking in Toronto at Unmatched event with Tennis Canada. They're having the tennis matches, and there's some tennis phenoms going on right now. But Don Staley of basketball came in and talked, and Teresa Resch putting her on blast on her Instagram. There's the former Rogers Cup going on in Toronto area, and there's the where to watch WNBA games from Teresa. Norman Powell's rocking that Jamaican gear like crazy right now. The Understand the Grind Jamaican gear is out, y'all. So if you want to support Team Jamaica and Norman Powell, Understand the Grind, well, the gear's there now. They got Jamaica Understand the Grind stuff. Now, Norman's games with Jamaica are going to be starting very soon, guys. He's going to be playing in AmeriCup qualifiers, similar to what Jakob's been playing in recently. And there will be 4 games that Norman plays for Jamaica against teams like Mexico and Barbados. So be on the lookout for that. These games are coming up in the next 2 weeks. And you can watch Norman play for Jamaica in the next couple weeks in FIBA action, just so you know. Just a heads up, Raptors freaks. If you love Norman Powell, you can watch him play for Jamaica in the next 2 weeks, guys. There's Jamal Shed. He posted the defensive highlights. The Raptors official admin posting a highlight reel of defensive highlights from last season. Grady, Scotty, Jamal, RJ Barrett, Jakob, all kinds of fantastic blocks, steals, 8-second calls at half court by Jamal. It's a great little compilation. I love to see it. And he's saying, one thing we're going to do is guard, is what Jamal Shed said. Well, you're going to score too, hopefully. So don't make it just one thing. Make it scoring too. Brandon's going to be playing. He's got that clip of them talking about who's the best driver out of the rookies from last year. And Jamal's saying this, I'm gonna get this driver's license last month after J-Mo. He's saying J-Mo got his license last month after failing 4 times. He's 23, by the way. Didn't hear it from me though, guys. Okay, Shed, you did just say that though. Didn't hear it from me though. You're telling us that Jonathan Mobo tried to get his license 3 times. He failed. And he's 23. What are you trying to do to him? Because they were arguing about who the best driver is out of them. Now, we do know Jacoby wasn't driving for a while, and Jamal Shed would be driving Jacoby Walter to practice. But I think Jacoby got his license, and he can drive. But, yeah, I would say probably Shed's the best driver out of those guys from last year. And then maybe Jamison Battle, and then maybe Mobo, and then Walter, and then Shamshay. I don't know. Shamshay probably doesn't drive. I'm going to guess Shamshay's not driving. But maybe he is. I don't know. There's a nice picture of the Madrid scenery by Jamal Shed. Where in the world is Serge Ibaka? Well, Serge Ibaka's in the Michis now. He's left Miami and he's gone to Island Paradise. He's at Michis now, and he's solo. He said I'm here in solo. It's a beautiful coast, beautiful, beautiful scenery that he's at right now. Michis is where. Wait, where did he go somewhere else too? Wait, hang on a second. Now he's in Santo Domingo. Where in the world is Serge Ibaka? Now he's in Dominican Republic. So he's in Dominican Republic now, and they're cracking coconuts. So Serge Ibaka, this may be a news segment, guys. Where in the world is Serge Ibaka? Well, he's in Santo Domingo now. He's moving quick here now. Sandra Mamu posting a race where this lady had a crazy come from behind catch up on this other lady running. Wow, that's really impressive, actually. Sandro Mamu posts all kinds of random stuff. I'm going to say this right now. His Instagram stories are a trip because they're going to go places. Jeff Landicho posting a beautiful sunset, I'm guessing in Rwanda, as the Giants of Africa festival is closed up. And what a successful year for Giants of Africa. Grady Dix, youth basketball camp is coming up quick. August the 10th is when it's going to happen, 2 to 6 p.m. in Wichita. Hoops, Bel Air, Kansas. Boys and girls 6 to 16 are welcome. Sign up now. When Grady gets back from Spain, he will be there to coach you guys at the youth basketball camp in Bel Air. So get there. Yeah, get there. Yeah, he's got the defensive highlight reel, the one where he blocked Darius Garland with an amazing shot block. Yeah, there's good stuff on that reel. If y'all haven't watched the defensive highlight reel that came out from Raptors and Men yesterday, it's fantastic. You guys should check it out immediately. Immediately. Jonathan Mobo in the streets of Madrid, Spain, taking pictures as a tourist. You got to love it. Let's see. Toronto Tempo's posting. Kayla Alexander. Hey, Kayla, question for you. Which Canadian icon are you bringing to sit courtside at Toronto Tempo game next year? Oh, that's a great question. If I could bring any Canadian icon, I think I would want to bring Lily Singh. After all, she is the official Tempo hype officer, after all. We could have a great time at the game. I would also want to bring Tammy Sutton-Brown. She paved the way for a lot of us Canadian players in the W and can bring that championship winning energy. Of course, we know about Tammy Sutton-Brown, the Canadian that has played the most games in WNBA history for Canada, or as a Canadian. So, yeah, cool questions there from Toronto Tempo, talking to Kayla Alexander. Let's see. Pascal's got some cool pictures out. He's looking really stylish. He's been wearing some nice clothes. And he's talking about his Jordans yesterday. He's collecting Jordans, and he's talking about his favorite pair of Michael Jordan shoes, Air Jordans. So, yeah, Siakam's living that life. He's happy. He's happy. Let's see. Savannah Hamilton's on the Cinderella Stories podcast with Ashley Docking, and she's wearing a handkerchief like she's Michael Scott. I don't know what's going on there. There's your Instagram stories real quick there. Yeah, they're in Madrid, and Chris has been gone to Boston. That's what's going on right there. Yeah, it is what it is. Nako saying my favorite memory of Chris was when he had that fantastic stretch in Tampa. Yeah. I mean, Chris had some real crazy good moments for us, and he really did carry us when we were in short staff. He stepped up, and he would have to become starters at times. Those were lean times, but he stepped up and he tried to do his best. Of course, we didn't win as much when he had to be a starter because that meant that people were injured and probably out. But, the Tampa year was one of his most successful years, because him and Malachi were heavily relied on in that Tampa year. Malachi Flynn had his best year in Tampa too. And him and Chris were getting starters kind of minutes during that season. So that's understandable why right there. Nako, you're top fan number one. G's here. Good to see you, Raptor Freak G. I hate that he went to the Celtics, but thinking his thought process was he would get some more playing time with their situation. It's probably true. But let's not get it twisted. It may not be that he's even thinking about playing time or anything like that. He's just thinking about, I need a spot. It's kind of like musical chairs. That music's going to stop playing, and whoever's not sitting down in a chair is out of the NBA. So in some ways, he wanted to just get that chair locked down. That's, once again, I keep telling you guys, there's not things like just guaranteed or given in this league. And you know what? He can't come into the Celtics with demands saying, I have to get this or this from them. They're going to be like, well, we're not signing you then. So he's just like he wants a spot. And, well, after that, the work is on him in training camp to do things and prove that he gets a rotation spot. He's got a spot on the roster now. And hopefully he'll do things in a way that Joe Mazzulla will play him. So we'll have to see. Cool Cat saying our chip team is forever in the archives now, a nostalgic era. Nothing stays the same. I mean, we can wax poetic about it, nostalgic. It is what it is. In some ways, I don't want to get emotional about this because in some ways, there's no reason to. This team, in some ways, died when Kawhi left, and it's too bad. It's just how it is. And I don't mourn the championship team because the championship team is a special, beautiful thing that will live forever, and we haven't lost it. It's just that the players don't play on the team anymore, and that's just it. That's the way I look at it right there. Yeah, nothing stays the same. Time changes things. Things change over time. Seymour's saying, I can't hate on Chris because he wanted to be here. Nothing but love and respect for him, champ. Yeah, it was tough because in some ways he probably his first choice was us, but we didn't choose him, and that's sad. In some ways, that's got to be tough on him. That the mental gymnastics to get around saying, you know what, if they wanted me, they would have made room for me, but they didn't. So, well, and it's not like he's doing a heel turn to do this. We know that the proper respect and love towards the Raptors franchise will always be there in Chris. This is not a move like Nick. This is not a heel turn. This is him just taking a spot where he can get one. It just happens to be on the hated Celtics. It's just how it is. Shaq Lindsay saying Boston realizes this is not a winning formula to have two players that are expensive on your team. Brown value will garner you draft picks that will help you now and in the future. What if they do this, Shaq Lindsay? What if they use this season to overly showcase Jaylen Brown in the absence of Jason Tatum, and they try and trade him at a high level of value and to get a lot more coming the other way? I mean, I guess the Celtics as an organization and Brad Stevens can see the NBA is such a fast-paced, changing league now that even if you win a championship like they did a couple years ago, doesn't mean that you're going to stay up there because things are happening so fast and you can fall really quickly out of there, even if the NBA wanted you to stay in that spot. Well, this league is parity and it's different now. And in some ways, you can't just leave a team at the top just because you like the idea of the Celtics having a repeat and a three-peat and a whole bunch of championships in a row. No, in some ways, this league is not like this. It's not conducive. So I think what they're doing is because they see this, they're taking a couple of steps back now so that they don't have to take a huge rebuild in a couple of years from now. Just a little bit of a small like dip in 1 year to try and stay up at a high level after this. I think that's the strategy Boston's using here, is what I'm seeing. Trevor's saying Jamaica's schedule came out so we can watch Norman. Yeah. I don't remember exactly when the games are, but Norman will be playing very soon, like in the next few days. He'll have his first game. And there'll be 4 games that I saw. I know he's playing Mexico. I know he's playing Barbados. I'm not sure what the other 2 teams are from the Americas because this is qualifying for other levels in FIBA in the Americas region. So they're playing island nations in Mexico is basically who Jamaica's going to be playing. Cool Cat saying lessons learned from our chip era. Don't get attached to players. They all have to move on. Don't get attached to players in general. It's sports. It's just how it is. So in this era, I have no attachment to our players. I support the team and look only at performance only. You can have the attachment with Pascal, and it's fine. You can have attachment with people, it's fine. But just realize if you want to get emotionally hurt, you can. You can allow yourself that opportunity. It's up to you. But understand, it's a business. And in some ways, I'm sad that Chris is gone. But, man, I'm so happy he had such a long Raptors career with us. So many great memories. And honestly, I celebrate him. That's what I do. I celebrate him, but I'm sad he's gone too. Sure. Fiercely saying, question on WNBA Fantasy, Lex, when playoff time comes, are we picking new players as our roster may have players on eliminated teams? No, because that's not how it works, Fiercely. We do not play the playoffs in the playoffs with the WNBA. We play our playoffs during the regular season of the WNBA. So all players will be playing up until the end of our season. The playoff season for WNBA does not get counted in our playoffs or in our season at all. We finish when the regular season finishes. We'll have our champion, and then the WNBA will do their postseason after that. So don't worry about this. No, you keep your same team unless you change it through the waiver wire. So, yeah, you're going to have the same players. You don't have to worry about this. We're going to go to the end of the WNBA season, and then our championship will be done, and then they'll play their playoffs, and it'll be totally separate. Kaz is saying, Lex, on your point about the whole Chris Boucher deserves stuff, I'm catching up on the stream. Yeah, I'm on point about it? Yeah. I mean, just because we love a guy, just because he's a nice guy, just because he lived a year on a bus because of some bullshit, I know he's an amazing person, and we love him, and we want all good things for good people. But unfortunately, this is a business. And honestly, every single player, if we treated every single player like the demands that Raptors Nation had for Chris Boucher, this league would be so weird, man. It's like nobody's that, I mean, I guess I shouldn't say that. How should I say it? The players have great lives, and they have a lot of good things for them. They make sacrifices. They make sacrifices in public life. They make sacrifices to train and do what they do to be at the highest level of athleticism, to be able to do stuff. So they get paid and compensated very well. And in some ways, like, look, they have the privilege to play in the NBA. In some ways, that is just it. That's it right there. Nothing else after that is guaranteed after that. Once you get that privilege to be in there, well, that's up to you. What you do with your skills and your minutes and your time out there and what you show your coach and your team and what you get after that. That's why it's like, why do we say for years about our team motto, earn, not given? Earn, not given. Weren't we saying that for like a couple years, a few years ago? Well, let's practice this in some of the ways we look at with Chris. Earn, not given. Some people say, well, you did earn it. He was really good. And if we played him more last year, we would have won more. Yeah, but what were we trying to do, y'all? Y'all get schizophrenic with your, oh, we need to lose. We're tanking. Wait, we're winning now. Wait, we should play Chris because I want to win more. Chris should deserve to play so we can win. What do you guys want? I just wanted Darko to coach the team and them to run the team the way they want to build it for the future so that we're building towards something more. And I don't give a shit about these side quests and the other things people are saying. I would have loved Chris to get a goodbye game in the Scotiabank Arena where he could wave to everybody and say, guys, but we didn't know what was going to happen with him. We can't have hindsight's 2020. Say, yeah, we know for sure Chris is going to leave. We didn't know for sure. It seemed like it. It seemed like it was leaning towards that. And maybe they should have had something like that, but you know what's going to happen. He'll come back to Toronto and the Celtics jersey, and we'll give him a standing ovation the first game he comes back. You know he's going to get that. You know he's going to get that. So it's just how it is. It's just how it is. G's saying there are no guarantees for anything, but I could see this thought process in the situation. They're in a teardown, and those times can be opportunities for some. Yeah. And honestly, he probably exhausted every single possibility for coming back to the Raptors, and it's just not in the cards. Bobby Webster and him probably talked about it, and it's just not in the cards. And he saw the writing on the wall. I mean, hell, the Raptors show up in Spain without him. What do you think he's thinking? Yeah, I need to sign right away. Rock Nation, get me my contract. Well, Celtics came calling, and that's where he's going. And that's just what it is. That's just what it is. And I think G's right. And a couple of you guys are saying that the Celtics may be a good opportunity for him because they're in a slump year coming up. And Chris may be able to play a lot like he did in Tampa. That may possibly happen. We'll have to see. Let's see. Shaq Lindsay saying Brown needs to see the writing on the wall and demand a trade before they use him as bait. A tanking team features players like Brown for value in trades. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of what Shaq Lindsay is saying right here. I'm seeing it. Yeah. I don't know. I think Jaylen Brown's very loyal to the Celtics in a lot of different ways. And I don't think that he would try and be toxic in this situation. Even if he sees what's happening, I think he'd just allow it to naturally progress the way it's supposed to. And he wouldn't make the situation worse. In some ways, he's a smart guy. He's an extremely intelligent guy. And he understands his value is not going to be helped if he's being a prima donna and saying, I need to be like Jimmy. I'm out of here. Jimmy Butler wanted out of Miami. I want out of Boston now because I see what y'all are doing. No, I think he'd just go along with whatever they did. And, well, if they traded him to the Spurs, all of a sudden he'd probably not be that upset. He'd just go on about his business and be a professional and show up in San Antonio. So we'll have to see. It just seems like that's the way Jaylen Brown is. Cool Cat saying CJ McCollum was not a good player association president. He hurt the players' compensation. Only the very top get paid. Mid-level and low-level players are ruined. Fred VanVleet will get better results. Let's hope so. Let's hope so. Fred's the new president of the Players Association. I watched that clip of Fred VanVleet TV, y'all. Check it out. He went to Belize, and he's got a jokey guy with him that makes jokes. And he went and captured some lobsters out of the ocean. And he went and looked at buying some real estate and starting some sort of business venture in the country of Belize. They were very happy to have him there. Belize was like, nobody ever comes here from the NBA. We love the NBA. We want NBA around. We watch it. But we're so excited to have an NBA champion and Fred VanVleet in our country right now. And he got to meet the prime minister of Belize and hang out with them. And he got to stand in front of a whole gym full of young kids and have an inspirational speech, much like his champion friend Kawhi Leonard did in Rwanda in the last week too. So Freddie was in Belize, and you should check out the Fred VanVleet TV clip. It's really cool because you see sides of Fred that you don't see. And honestly, you love Fred. You got to love Fred if you're a Raptors fan. If you don't love Fred, you're wrong. You're wrong. You got to love him. And some of Penn-Stare's bullshit about Fred not being friendly with autographs is totally debunked in this clip because he stops in the airport and takes pictures with the airport security And he says, yeah, make sure these guys get pictures. All right, your bullshit, Robert Pensare, about Fred being mean about pictures is totally debunked, because if you watch Fred VanVleet TV, you can see exactly how he is with fans in public. There's a good example. It's the exact same way he was with me when I met him in public. So it's like, you can see it. And also, Fred gets on this really small plane to fly to an island near Belize, and it's scary. It's like a very little small plane, and it's like him and his friend are like, I don't really want to get on this plane. But Freddie grabs the bulls by the horns, and he says, I want to sit up front with the pilot. Don't turn on my controls, because I don't want to fly this thing. And they said, it's only a 15-minute flight. So he's like, it's a 15-minute roller coaster. And Fred's like, yeah, let's go. But it's scary. Like, those smaller planes are scary. Like, I don't mind flying a huge jumbo jet that there's a ton of us on there, but those smaller planes can be a little bit scary. The little, like, 4-people planes. And yeah, Fred gets on one of those in the Fred TV segment that came out this week. Definitely check out Fred's show. Seriously, it's very eye-opening. And you see that Fred lives a good life. He's a nice guy. He's very benevolent and kind with his time. And that, it totally debunks all the bullshit that Pensare basketball was trying to say about Fred a couple years ago. You just watch Fred TV, you'll see it. Alan Tam, bam, son, bam, booyaka, 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 booyaka. Yeah, Alan Tam, bam, son, prayers. All right. Shaq Lindsay saying the signing of Sarr is telling of what the Raptors are looking for to filling in that spot. It's unfortunate, but I don't think Lawson's going to make the team. I'm going to disagree with you completely. I think Lawson's going to make the team still. But because Sarr is not that good, man. I'm going to tell you right now. I've said this a couple times this week already since we got Olivier Sarr. This is not Alex Sarr. This is not a guy who's got a potential to grow into something. He's already who he is. He's older. He's like 26 or 27. He's not a young guy, Sarr, that we just added. He's at the level of like more Moses Brown. I've said this over and over again. He's a very similar player to Moses Brown. He's got a lot of height and a lot of long arms, and he can shot block and rebound. But he's not very good offensively. He can't fucking score from outside 5 feet of the basket. So there's no place in the league for Olivier Sarr. There's a place in the G League on our team for center for Coach Andrew Jones and the Mississauga Raptors 905. So that's where he's going. He's on an Exhibit 10. He's not on a guaranteed contract. He's on the same thing that Quincy Guerrier had last year. So Shaq Lindsay, the signs of him taking the spot from AJ Lawson, don't hold your breath. He's not that good. He's not better than AJ. And even if it seems like we need another center on our team, that's not necessarily true at this point, because we've seen the emergence of Ulrich Shamshay, and there may be more allowing him to be one of our backup bigs for this regular season coming up for the main team. So it's like our center depth is Jakob, Sandro Mamu, Ulrich, and Jonathan Mobo. Those 4 guys will probably be our main centers for this year. And I don't think Sarr will get anywhere near the Raptors because he's not as good as you think. He's been in the league for 5 years already, and he ain't done jack shit. He's been hanging around with the Thunder on the Thunder Blue, and he just hasn't progressed. He's not his brother. He's not as good as his younger brother. Let's just put it that way. And you see the name, you're like, oh, this is going to be good. Alex Sarr's brother? Well, he's his older brother, and he's already washed, and he's been in the league for 5 years already. Alex Sarr just came in as a rookie recently. This guy's been around already. Osar has been in a box scores in the NBA for a while now. He's not a new commodity. He's kind of he's on like his second or third chance in the NBA right now. And he's not in the NBA. He's a G League player, and he's just barely making that. Let's just put it that way. Wayne saying at Troy, good memory. Hang on, it jumped. Okay, let me see. Good memory. I was telling my fellow freaks that Boston is the natural team for him because they emphasize shooting, and Chris is a shooter. Easy call to make. Lex doesn't like Boston, hates them. Yeah, I do. And I do remember this noise, guys. I do remember overtures from rumor places saying that the Celtics covet Chris Boucher. We've heard this for a while. Yeah, this is true. There have been Boston Celtics has made overtures that they would love to have Chris Boucher on their team. Well, they got him. They got him now. And that's what it is right there. Trevor's saying that Fred VanVleet video was very good. Yeah, it's very, very good. Highly recommend Fred FVV TV. FVV TV. Look it up. If you follow Fred on YouTube, you can find it. It's a really, really well done thing. The guy who's with him is kind of goofy. He cusses a lot, and he keeps saying, "Why are we here? Why are we here in the jungle? Why are we here, Fred? And I'm like, what do you, dude? Come on. I know you want some comic relief, maybe a little character in there other than you. So you got your jokey friend on the show with you. Let's find out his name. How about that? Dennis Schroeder had his people on his show too. His jokey friend that was always causing trouble. And well, you should have a jokey friend too, Fred, as a little bit of entertainment. But we need to know his name. At least we knew Danny Green's co-host on the Green Room, Harrison. We knew Dennis Schroeder's friends, the two guys that used to stay with him. I don't remember their names right now, but we know those two guys were. They were comic relief on his content. And well, you got a comic relief guy, but you did not mention his name in the credits or anything. We have no idea who that neck tattoo guy is who's acting goofy on your new Fred VanVleet thing. Shere Khan's here. Good to see Shere Khan back in the house. Former Raptor Freak Rookie of the Year. Shere Khan is in the house. The best ever comment questioner for Raptors Tonight in the history of Raptors Tonight. Good morning, Raptor Freak family. Just wanted to check in for this one. I'm happy that Chris got a spot and not sitting out the season. We're happy about that too, for sure. His tenure with the Raptors had run its course. Time for a new bench mob and for new Raptors era, young guns. I love that. See, this is the thing. This is the right attitude Shere Khan has. It's like we honor and remember the history in the past and Chris Boucher and the championship, but we are looking forward to the new version of the bench mob with Jamal Shed, Jacoby Walter, and his group, and coming in and seeing what they're going to do. Bench mob 2.0. Yeah, I want to see what these guys are all about. The bench dogs. I don't know what we're going to call them. But I'm all about what Shere Khan's doing. He's looking to the future. He's looking to see the young Raptors core get better and better and succeed higher and higher. That's what I'm looking forward to, Shere Khan. Always good to see you back in the chat, man. Always good to see. Reggie's saying WWE is moving all their premium live events to ESPN starting in 2026. This is for their US-based viewers. That's interesting. So that would be on cable? Or is it ESPN.com? You pay a package? That's very interesting. Very weird. I guess they didn't like dealing with Netflix. That's what tells me. I mean, they've been doing everything on Netflix right now. Maybe Netflix is not working as a partner and they're shunning them. And now they want to do their premium live events, pay-per-views on ESPN. That's very interesting, Reggie. Trevor's saying, do not worry about Chris. His pockets are fat and he's still laughing all the way to the bank. This is exactly right. Exactly right. Chris Boucher is got a charmed life. He's a happy man. He's got a nice, healthy young child. He's got his beautiful mother in his life. He's got all kinds of amazing things in his life. He's got good friends. He's got good family. He's got good times. And that's it right there. Trevor's exactly right. I'm going to give Trevor a dunk for spitting facts on that. Don't feel bad for Chris. Chris has generational wealth. He's taken himself and made himself into something so amazing from where he came from. 126 for Trevor J. Adriana's saying this. Lex, not a good way to use the term schizophrenic, disappointed. I apologize about that. It's just that I feel like people are kind of going back and forth on like the way they feel about it. I apologize. I need to be checked when I'm not being sensitive with my lingo. I do use a lot of words every day on the chat, and I apologize, Adriana, for using that term. And I will try not to use those kind of terms, like a medical term like that, in that kind of way. I do have blind spots still. And I thought maybe because it was switching kind of views on something and going back and forth. You know, this is a very serious ailment that one of my very close friends in high school suffered from, and he killed himself because he suffered from schizophrenia. So I don't want you to think that I take this lightly. I had one of my best friends in high school take a shotgun to his head because of schizophrenia. So I'm sorry. I shouldn't use that way, Adriana. I apologize. Kareem saying, I'm always a fan of players who wore a Raptors jersey and always tend to follow their careers. The only player I had huge attachment issues with was with Norm, only because his emotion when he got dealt. Yeah, I mean, we've seen the emotion with different guys when they got dealt. The Raptors open gym really showed Quincy Acey and Aaron Gray when they got traded at the beginning of that series. It was amazing to see that insight privately and just see like serious, like real in the moment reaction. In some ways, that's not for us to see. It should be private for the player to deal with the change in some ways. It's the voyeurism of that was not comfortable for me completely, but it made open gym something special and real and raw. And it's something like that. But yeah, Norman was disappointed about getting traded to Portland for sure, but he's kept his head up and he's kept on going and he's doing great. at this point, all the way to Miami at this point. That's right. I'm with you on this, Kareem. It's tough. Just thinking about the scene on Open Gym still brings a tear to my eyes. Yeah, this stuff is tough, man. When these guys have to say goodbye and they got traded all of a sudden and they catch it on camera. Oh, man. Oh, man. It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. Wayne's saying Chris got a final goodbye game. It's when his pay was deposited in the bank account. No, I mean, I truly was calling for this at the end of the season. I knew he had gotten his 50 game limit, but then when there was like, it seemed like the writing was on the wall, he might be gone. I was like, play him one more time. Just play him one more time. And a lot of the fans wanted that too, but it wasn't to be, and it never happened. And it is what it is. It is what it is. Fiercely saying, thank you for clarifying the playoff question. No problem. Anytime. And let's look and check in on our WNBA Fantasy League. We've had a night of action so far. I've got a 50-point lead over Fiercey in our matchup. James is losing to Kaz. JP is beating Edmund. We got Logical Raptors Fanatic with a 20-point lead over Kareem. And MK is beating Cool Cat in a close one, 11-point lead there. There is one WNBA game today. It's Las Vegas Aces at Golden State Valkyries. The crew chief is Ashley Gloss. The referee is Ryan Sassano. And the umpire is Marcy Williams. So, yeah, there's your WNBA update for today. Kareem saying Belize is the best place to buy property right now. Great investment. Also, isn't the Prime Minister Shine, former rapper from Bad Boy? I don't know. That may be true. I did not know that factoid. That's what they were saying on the episode with Fred. He's meeting with an investor guy. He's saying this is a great place to invest in right now. It's booming, and it's a great unknown spot that's untapped that a lot of people are just discovering. And this is going to be a burgeoning opportunity going forward. So Fred liked all the sound of that, the entrepreneur that Fred VanVleet is. And it sounds like he's buying property. And he even said to the people in the comments afterwards, we'll be back in Belize soon. Because that's probably because he has business to do down there and tying up loose ends and signing contracts and getting a property bought for himself to have some sort of business on. So that's what it sounded like what he was doing down there. It was partly going down there for vacation, catching some lobsters, hanging out on a boat, swimming, smiling, having a good time, eating some good food, getting some rays on the beach, jet skiing. You see him jet ski in the video, not jet ski, he's water skiing. And then do a little business on the side, meet with the Prime Minister, go meet some kids, and do some inspiring words too. Let's see what else you guys are saying. Let's see. Yeah, he's saying, yeah, the Prime Minister of Belize used to be, Shine, one of the Bad Boys up and coming artists of the early 90s. He had the track Bad Baz. Okay, cool. So he is a famous hip hop star. Interesting. G saying, I went on a small plane on an island and it's scary as fuck. I tried not to show fear, but internally I was like, please get us there in one piece. This is where you always hear all the tragedies. I mean, the plane that Ric Flair crashed was like that, where he broke his back in 1975. You know, Roy Halladay, that's another big story right there. You know, Roy Halladay is flying a one-man stunt plane by himself over the water, and that's how he passed. Was he did some crazy move and he lost control and he crashed the plane in the ocean. You know, the smaller the plane, the more dangerous it is. I'm going to say that right now. The bigger the plane, the more safe it is. Honestly, it's kind of crazy how that works. It's kind of crazy like that. Smooth saying he was P. Diddy's signature artist with Biggie Smalls. Then he did time and cut ties with Diddy. Well, it's probably good he cut ties with Diddy. Probably good considering the news these days. Wayne saying, Shaq, have you ever watched Sar play? What are his pros and cons? To me, his size is his pro. His size is his pro. But the thing is, if the guy can't get around the court that fast, if he's a lumbering, slow kind of player, and he's also not a very good shooter from a certain distance out, he's very limited, and it's tough because, like I said, the comparison to Moses Brown is very apt. You guys know Moses Brown looks great for rebounding and blocking shots and just being a very long arm, tall man. But the man runs up and down the court really slow, and he can't shoot outside of 5 feet of the basket. We know this. So it's a similar package with Olivier Sarr, at least from what I've seen. Now, if he shows up, he's bombing threes, he's doing way better up and down the court, I'll be like, whoa, I was wrong about him, and I'll amend my opinion. But right now, my scouting report on him is similar to Moses Brown's, just so you know. Yeah, let's see what else y'all are saying here. Let's see. Kareem saying Shine did a 10-year bid for Diddy and J-Lo. He did that so that they didn't get taken down. Well, it looks like Diddy might get pardoned by crime boss president. So we'll just see how it goes. Cool Cat saying small planes glide with the weather. Jets fight against it. You use small planes in good weather. I love both experiences. You see more with small planes. That's the truth. You don't want to be flying no small plane with bad weather out there. That is asking for it. That's the truth. That's like, this is stuff like the day the music died. My Miss American Pie drove the Chevy to the levee because the levee was dry. And they're singing about when Buddy Holly, the Big Bopper, and Richie Valens crashed in that plane the day the music died. And, that was a big deal at that time right there. That's it right there. Yeah. Let's see. Infamous is saying, salute Raptor Freak and family. I can't wait for the call-in show to rant about this. Okay, yeah, we'll do this tomorrow. I'll do the Thursday Think Tank. I was thinking about doing a Thursday Think Tank on the disrespect towards the Raptors in the press. It's an ongoing thing right now, and I feel like that's a good topic for us to espouse our opinions on. The way the ESPN and other people treat the Raptors and talk about us is disrespectful, and it's just not accurate. It's just not nice. And I kind of want to explore that a little more deeply and talk about it in a deeper way. Good to see you, Infamous. Always happy to see Raptor Freak Infamous in the chat. And yeah, definitely call me tomorrow for the call-in show, Thursday Think Tank, tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. I'll be on it. Adrian said, I don't think you take it lightly, just pointing it out. Well, I appreciate that. And I want you to. And I really do appreciate you doing that. I'm going to give you a dunk, in fact, for pointing that out. There's a lot of language that I've used in my life. And since I've known you, you've told me this is not exactly right to use it this way. And, in some ways, this is just blind spots. I want to be sensitive to everybody and make sure that I'm not saying things hurtfully. Shaq Lindsay saying, salute to Chris. Let's give him a standing ovation. OVO-vation. I like that. I'm going to give you a dunk for that when he comes back and retire his jersey. I'd like to see them retire his jersey. Some people say, you're crazy. Why would we retire his jersey? But in some ways, there is a precedent for it on other teams for certain long-standing great players like Udonis Haslem for the Miami Heat, something like that. So it's like, it's not totally out of the question that we may retire Chris's jersey. Out of all the bench players in the history of the Raptors, he's the one that would get his jersey retired. Nobody else. So that's the way I look at it. Shaq Lindsay, 56 on the dunk charts. 56? No, not 56. Fuck that. 57. 57. Yeah, there you go. Let's see what else we got. Dan's here. Good to see Dan Rosario. The current prime minister of Belize is Johnny Bricino and not Shine. Shine is a politician in the country, but not the prime minister. Okay, yeah, because the guy who was on the Fred thing didn't look like an old hip-hop star that he was meeting. So that makes sense. Once again, Dan coming in and fact-checking. I appreciate Dan doing this. He's a little bit of quality control to make sure that we get things straight, and I appreciate Dan for this. We're giving a lot of dunks today. I like this. Yeah, we'll get Dan Rowe a dunk on here real quick for fact check. And that's 15. You got the Vince Carter 15 now, Dan. You're at the 15 mark now. Amazing. Yeah. Trevor's giving me a cutoff. I appreciate that. Yeah, I do want to get finished in the next 20 minutes. Shaq Lindsay saying, haven't watched SAR game. Just know that he was injured. You're probably right about him. Just that they let Castleton go and sign SAR to a 10-day contract. Yeah, in some ways, Castleton was more of a threat to take the spot from AJ, but Castleton regressed. It's amazing how much worse Castleton was at Summer League than in the regular season against regular NBA teams. Playing the young teams in the Summer League, he looked like garbage. So he regressed, and they absolutely had to cut him because he's a waste of time at this point. You can see already you're going nowhere with him. And in some ways, you just let's not waste anybody's time. Let's move on and go to the next thing. And SAR, they're putting a flyer on SAR in some ways more for the 905 depth. And I don't think it has anything to do with the Raptors necessarily. I think it's more that they want Olivier Sarr to be available for Andrew Jones as some depth for the 905 team in Mississauga is what I'm thinking it's going to be. They'll have Clifford Romaroy and Olivier Sarr. That's two quality centers at that level with real height and size. And when Shamshe got hurt last season, we were in a lurch. Aldous Shamshe has a blocks compilation out right now. They have a blocks compilation out of him. and he's an amazing defender. But when he went out, it really hurt our defense for 905. And, well, they want to do something about it this year by stocking the shelves. Having Clifford Omarui and Olivier Sarr around. So that's what I think I see. Trevor J. saying classic card. I will do that. Shine needs to be prime minister. He was before, but he's not currently. Fierce saying time to watch Jakob, maybe, if he plays. That'll be at 1 p.m. is the time when Austria starts, just so you know. Let me check my tabs some more, and then we'll do the classic card. Let's see. Straight goods on Canadian goods, guys. Today I'm talking about flour. If you want to get 100% Canadian sourced and manufactured flour, 1847 Stone Milling is a great company to buy flour from. They're Canadian owned, and they do their grain stuff on site in Ontario. It's all 100% Canadian. 10 out of 10 score on the Canada score. So 1847 Stone Milling is a great company to buy flour from. So if you're looking to buy some flour to make a recipe, well, there's a good Canadian company right there to buy the flour from. That's right. That's right. Let's see what else do we have in the tabs real quick. Raptors Reddit is mourning Chris Boucher taking off, and they're kind of looking at this guy. There's some crazy hat right there. That is a wild hat that somebody found on Raptors Reddit. They're saying they're all gone now. They have the championship team and picture of them, and they're all gone. None of them are on the team at this point. It's too bad. It's too bad. It's just how it is. We just got to move on. That's about it. I don't see anything else on Raptors Reddit that's new from yesterday. It looks like all the same stuff otherwise. Let's see what else we got. Birthdays. There's some big birthdays today. First of all, happy birthday to Andy Greer, former assistant coach of the Toronto Raptors. Andy Greer is 63 today. And then also, happy birthday, 51 years old today is Boogie Williams, our color guy for our Sportsnet broadcast with Matt Devlin. Alvin Williams, happy birthday today. He's 51 years old today, guys. You got to wish Alvin Williams happy birthday. That's right. We love Alvin. He's been fantastic on the broadcast. He gets better and better. The professor look is awesome, his alter ego. So happy birthday to Boogie Williams, one of my favorite all-time Raptors. It's his birthday today. All right, let's do the classic card. We're moving right along through this, and we're going to get out of here. Okay. No, this card's too weird. We'll do that another time. That one's too weird for right now. This one too. All right, the third's the charm. Yeah, we'll just do this one. All right, here we go. Classic card of the day, guys. First person to write the full name answer will get the classic card points. Here you go. Here's the classic card of the day. If you can see who that is, write in the classic card name, and I'll give it to you, the points. I don't think this card's that hard, but we'll see. Hopefully you guys can see who it is and just write it in. Yeah, that's wrong, Stargate. That's not Jason Collins. That is not Jason Collins. You're mostly right, though, but that's not right exactly. Good to see you, Stargate, by the way. Chris Boucher wearing green will give him a severe rash. That's just the competitive spirit of me. I'm with you on that. In some ways, it is what it is. He's going to wear that ugly green jersey. He's going to be there. You go. Fierce, you got it. It's John Collins, not Jason. John Collins, of course, is gone to is he on the Lakers or is he on the Jazz or something? I don't even know where he is. It's John Collins. Fiercey got it. So Fiercey gets another classic card. I think this is the second day in a row. Didn't you get yesterday? Yeah, you did. So John Collins is the latest one. And where did he go? I'm trying to remember. Did he go to the Lakers? I'm only going to give you 50 for it because he's newer and pretty well known. So, yeah, John Collins, Fiercey Salsera. And you guys saw Fiercey got the high score on the trivia yesterday. There you go. Utah. Oh, no, he's on the Clippers. That's right. He went to the Clippers. Seymour's right. It's Clippers. Yeah. Stargate half-assed it. Well, Jason Collins was a player in the NBA. He got most of it right. Most of it right. All right. Anything else you guys want to say? I'm going to close up the show real fast here. Let me just run down the rest of what I want to talk about. Y'all, today at 1 p.m., 1:20 actually, Eastern time, Jakob Poeltl will hopefully play for Austria. They'll be playing Bulgaria. It'll be on YouTube. I was going to do a watch along, but I'm not totally sure if he's going to play, so I didn't want to take a risk. And I do have things I'd rather do later on this day instead of watching the game with you guys then, because there's stuff I got to take care of. So I went ahead and did a reaction to Chris Boucher signing with the Celtics yesterday, $3.3 million for 1 year. And we just wish him the best. We love Chris. There's no hard feelings. I hope from his end, not from us. You're awesome alumni of the Raptors. You're always going to be somebody that we value and love in the history of our team and our franchise culture. And Chris Boucher, you're always, obviously, you're one of our Canadian Raptors and you're a Canadian champion Raptor. And we just wish you well. I mean, who knows what happens in Boston? I hope that he does get to play a lot. It could very well happen because their situation and what they're doing with their franchise this year. So I wish Chris well. You know he's going to get a hero's welcome back when he comes back to Toronto. We're going to really, really let him hear it. He's going to feel the love. That's for sure. Yeah. Clippers are stacked, and that's your sarcasm speaking. Clippers are old, is what I would say. Clippers are the oldest team in the history of the NBA right now. And Isaac's got me on blast. There's the starting five of Lex. The old Clipper boat. Yeah, the old Clipper boat. The love boat. Clippers retirement squad. Yeah, they really are that old. They are really old. And there's been some old teams in the history of the NBA, but never as old as Steve Ballmer's team this year. Never as old as that. Yeah, Fiercely saying we love you, Chris. Montreal, stand up. That's right. That's right. Kareem saying I also would love to retire in LA. You want to retire in LA? I don't know. California is the best place to be right now, Kareem. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, Ty Lue might suit up. Ty Lue? What are we bringing up Ty Lue for? Oh, my gosh. All right, y'all. Let's get out of here. Thank you for watching the Raptor Freak stream today. Wow, Wednesday. Chris Boucher is a Boston Celtic. But we still love Chris no matter what, and it is what it is. It's just what it is. In some ways, we're just happy he got a spot. As Fred VanVleet said about Nick Nurse, he landed on his feet. So thank goodness he landed on his feet, Chris Boucher. And, well, we'll see what happens in Boston. We're going to boo you a bit just because it's Celtics. But in some ways, we won't boo you. We'll cheer you when it's just you. When you get announced, at the game, we'll cheer you for sure, Chris. That's right. That's right. Throwing up on the Celtic. Shamrock. That's right, Fiercely. That's the right action right there. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching me today. Thursday Think Tank tomorrow, 9:30. The call-in show. Call me on the phone and express your opinions about how the media is treating the Toronto Raptors right now. It's crazy. There's some gaslighting going on, and we need to call them out on it. And, well, Scotty and Brandon and RJ and Emmanuel and Jakob and Grady and all the rest, they're going to need to prove that these people are very, very wrong with their prognostications and show them that they deserve respect, demand the respect. That's what I want to see. So tomorrow, let's talk about it. Call me, Infamous, tomorrow, please. And everybody else who feels like calling on the Thursday Think Tank call-in show, Raptor Freak out. Let's go, Raptors. Please like, comment, subscribe, share. Join the channel if you like. Membership has its privileges. We're talking about doing the next Raptor Freak Hangout on Thursday, August the 28th at the Real Jerk, Carlaw and Gerard. And that will be in the evening. So hopefully you guys can circle your calendars and maybe get to that Raptor Freak Hangout on August the 28th, Thursday, at Real Jerk, Carlaw and Gerard, that Real Jerk. We did our event there before, so we want to come back there. So everybody went last time for that event. Well, not everybody, but a lot of the people that came last time, come back. We're going to do it again at the Real Jerk. That's right. Real Ones joined the Real Jerk. That's right. Isaac was there. He was at the Real Jerk. And so was Kareem Thomas. That's right. He was there too. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching. Raptor Freak out. I hope you guys have a great Wednesday. I love you guys. Let's go, Raptors. Thank you, Chris. We love you. And you'll always be a Raptor in our heart. And we look forward to seeing you when you come back. We'll give you a hero's welcome at Scotiabank Arena. Let's go, Raptors. Forever, baby. Woo!